Hi guys, apologies, I've been away for a while. It's just been chocker busy, but I'm back now. I've got a lot of requests, a lot of video requests, so I'm going to try and get through them. To give you an idea, I've got 165. So I'm going to try and do 3 or 4 videos a day, but you will only see a quarter of them, so you'll only see 1 out of the 4, because most of them just get copyrighted. It's part of the parcel. It's what I expect, what I anticipate when I do a video. They get copyrighted. So there is a lot of work that goes into them, believe it or not. But anyway, I enjoy doing it, and that's why I do it. Right, okay, getting to the point. Sorry about the mess in the background. Please ignore that. Getting to the point of this video. It's that time of year where a lot of people start thinking about, I start thinking about kind of where I am in life, professionally, and in other areas, thinking about the year ahead, coming up to Christmas. I always go back to my hometown, which is in Yorkshire, which is about 4.5, 5-hour journey even. And on that journey home, I know I've got 2 weeks off. I know in them 2 weeks, I feel so away from my day-to-day working life, physically, and in all other ways, so detached from work, where I can truly switch my laptop off and have my out of office actually working, that I start to really take that time to reflect. And an interesting stat was told to me by a recruitment consultant is 65 to 75% of inquiries come in the first 3 weeks of January for new jobs. I'm not saying that the supply and demand match. I'm just saying a lot of people do leave their jobs toward the end of the year and start new work at the start of the year. And I think this reflection period that I go through anyway has a part to play in that. Because you do completely detach. It's like if you go on holiday for 3 weeks or 4 weeks. Well, that's how long it takes me anyway to really get away from everything. I feel very, very, isolated in your thoughts and almost at peace, where you can really recharge the brain. And one thing that comes to mind, I've learned probably over the last 5 to 10 years is, let's take a step back. On a platform I use called LinkedIn, there's always some people out there, and there's nothing wrong with this, talking about how to be successful at your job, how to be a successful leader, how to be successful in your finances, how to be successful physically. And they always talk about means and ways of becoming successful. Another question is, what makes you successful? What's the key to success? All these things. And I don't mean this bit in an arrogant way, but let me clear something up, right? Success has got nothing to do with them things. Success is simply the fulfillment of an objective, right? That's what success is. I'll give you an example. If your objective is to be a doctor by the age of 28 and you achieve that, you are successful. If your objective is to wash the dishes before 9 p.m. and you do that, you're successful, right? If your aim is to run 100 meters in under 8 seconds, that's impossible, 12 seconds, let's say, and you do that, you're successful. If your aim is, I'll give you a silly idea, if your aim is to, drink 15 beers in 3 hours and you do it, you're successful. These are all just different routes to achieving a goal or an aim. That's what success is. There's no way does it say success is money, success is job. It's not. It's all absolutely subjective, right? So there is no key to success. A key to success is fulfilling it. It's either you are successful at doing something or you are not. And as I've just outlined, it could be anything. However, we do have personal KPIs, if you like, which are like key performance indicators or personal levels of achievement. Achievement is different. It's very similar to success, because you can say, I want to achieve, fantastic handwriting and you work towards it and you achieve it, although that's some things are unquantifiable. Achievement is different. And for me personally, I believe in 5 pillars of achievement, right, which can be geared towards success. And for me, these are the top 5. This is how I measure myself, right? And it's worth pointing out, it's almost useless being great at one of the top 5 and very, very poor at the other 4. It's better to be 10% on each of the top 5 than it is 100% on one, or 50-50 of 2 and 0 on the other 3. Are you following me? Okay. And I'm going to tell you what they are. And this is how I define my level of achievement. This is when I reflect. This is what I reflect on. Let's go through them in order. So the first one for me is the most superficial one, materialistic one, is financial, right? Am I financially achieving what I want to achieve? So the first pillar is finance. That's not got anything to do with making money. Well, it's related, but it's not determined by how much money I make or how much money I have in the bank. Somebody on LinkedIn, as it happens, just 3 days ago wrote, do you believe higher salary helps you achieve more in life? And my response to that was, true financial freedom, which is where the question actually was, what level of wealth will give you financial freedom? That was the question. And a lot of people gave their answers, everyone's entitled to it. And I wrote, financial freedom is not having more wealth. Financial freedom is actually having less desire. Because the more wealth you have, the more desire you have. So when I look at myself inwardly and I think, am I financially achieving what I want to achieve? I'm not thinking, am I financially making more money? I'm thinking financially, am I desiring less? Am I content? Am I happier with what's in arm's length and living within my means? Because that's a battle a lot of people have, right? You can endlessly have money, right? You can endlessly have all the money in the world and you will still want more things, right? It's extinguishing that desire that gives you financial freedom, okay? I'm not saying become a monk. I'm not saying, go and live in the deserts with nothing. I'm saying just lower the things that you want and improve maybe on the things that you need. And I'm a firm believer that have the best quality of the simplest things. So I do look at myself financially. So that's my first pillar. I reflect on where I am. I do look at how much salary, what my salary is. Has it improved? Has my lifestyle improved? But not to the extent where I think, am I richer than I was last year? That's a bad measure. It's a bad measure for me. The second, so we've done financially. The second one is emotionally intelligent. I do believe a lot of that does come with a combination of experience. And I'm not talking about age, I'm talking about experience. Experiencing emotions. It could happen at a very young age, it could happen at a very old age, or anywhere in between. So a lot of it is with experience, and a lot of it also has got to do with exposure to it. The two are very closely linked. I do think emotionally, am I stable? Am I able to, for example, that's how I measure it, walk into a really heated argument very calmly, very logically, rationally, and try and develop a mature response. For me, personally, it came a little bit later in life where I was able to achieve that. I was very hot-headed when I was younger, but now I'm a lot calmer because of my experiences. And I realised in the end, not a lot of things really matter. It's a very simplistic view, but nothing's ever really that bad either. And I think I approach highly emotional and sensitive situations a lot better now than I had done, and I'm sure I will continue to improve. So there are two that we got. So I look at myself financially and emotionally. Third one, physically. Now, I'm not the biggest guy, I'm not the strongest guy. I have a bit of weight on me, which I don't mind at all. Other people around me might, but I don't mind too much. But I do look at myself physically, and I quantify that. I make sure, I'm 42 now. I make sure I go to the gym at least 4 times a week. I run 3 times a week. I do a 5K every 2 days at least. So I do weights one day, 5K the next. Sometimes I combine the two. I play a bit of sport. Tennis less so in the winter, but I do play a lot of, try and mix it up. I try and keep myself physically fit. As I say, I've got a long way to go. That's because I'm a bit greedy when it comes to food. But I try and do well. I do watch what I eat to an extent, but my cheat days are really bad. But I do look at myself physically, and it's not just the aesthetics, not just the appearance. It's also inside. I don't really drink. When I drink whiskey, which is very rare. On an special occasion, every now and then I might treat myself to a beer or a glass of wine, but I really try and limit what I drink. I don't really eat crap. I don't smoke. So I try and physically look after myself, try and stay hygienic, clean, obviously, which everyone does. Try to stay well groomed, but it's always difficult when you look like Wurzel Gummidge. So there are 3 pillars. So you got physically, emotionally, and financially. The 4th one is a very important one to me, and it might not be to other people, and that is socially. I try and, my father's, he's my hero, and he's always said to me that you should be able to talk to everyone with the same amount of respect, whether they are very highly intelligent or not so intelligent, whether in a very high job or a low job. And he's practiced that all his life. He's a very intelligent man. He's a professor, and academically he's really intelligent, like presidents of loads of organizations, and a lot of people approach him for anything academic in most fields. He's very, very, very aware, but at the same time he can talk to a completely a school dropout at the age of 11, doesn't proper blue collar working, hard nosed, foul mouthed person with the same amount of respect. He doesn't look up or down. I mean, I know that sounded like I was looking down on that kind of model, but I'm not. I'm just giving you an example. He can talk with really intelligent presidents. I remember he went to Washington and he did a conference with Bill Clinton about the meaning of a marriage institution, global conference. And then, in the evening, he was having tea with a dear old aunt over there a long time ago. And he treated both with absolute same equality, and he can do that. So socially, I think it's important to know where you are in your social fields. So your immediate social fields and your external social fields. So in my family, my friends, and then in my workplace, and then in my community, make sure I'm always maintaining high standards, treating everyone with respect, being kind, being approachable, and also helping people that are lesser fortunate, as I have been, and I probably will be again in life, in different areas. I think just overall, just being a good person, or trying to be a good person. And I think that's very important, to look at yourself socially. And also, I'm a firm believer that you become your society or your immediate surroundings. So to have good people around you, I never want to be the most intelligent person in a room, which is hardly ever the case. I want to be the stupidest person in the room. I want to learn from people around me. And ever since I've been working at an institution where I worked for 8 years with very intelligent people, I always went and sat at the table when we had dinner events. I always sat on the table with the academics or people who are very, very good in their field. Not some sitting there learning and listening to them, but just watching their behaviour and trying to be in that frame of mind, because I believe they can influence you. So socially, so again, to reiterate, we've got financially, we've got socially, we've got physically, and we've also got emotionally, right? There's a fifth one, and for me personally, this is probably the most important, because them four aspects that we've touched on, they can have a little bit of a legacy. They can leave a bit of a trail on the earth, on your life, on your family members when you have gone. But the fifth one is the one that takes you with you, that you take with you, and that's spiritually. I'm not talking necessarily about religion. I'm talking about your spiritual awareness, right? I'm talking about your, even to put it in a simplistic term, your frame of mind, your composure of mind, your awareness of what's happening in a non-communicative way, okay? So if you, for example, are in, if you are away from natural surroundings, in other words nature, for a long time, go and take a walk in the woods, become linked with nature as much as you can, and I think that's very important to me. It's unfortunate that in the winter I used to get up in the summer and spring and go out at 5 o'clock in the morning and have a cup of tea in my garden for half an hour, just me and nature. I don't do that as much in the winter, and it's a bit of a weakness of mine. I get up a bit later, it's dark out there and it's cold, but I should really do it. So in the winter, I'm not as in touch with nature as I should be, and I really feel that. And for me, that is spirituality, because the spirit and the soul of the eternal divine is in everything, I believe. And I'm talking not just in humans, I'm talking about in rocks and stones and grass and birds and everything alike. So spiritually, to be on your feet, but your feet firmly on the ground, living in the reality of now, living in the true moment, living in the third dimensional world as we do it, as most spiritually aware as I can be. It's hugely important to me, and it's a very personal one, so I won't elaborate too much on that, but I'm sure it means different things to different people. Some people it can mean religion, it can mean God. For some people it can mean none of them things. It could just be, as I mentioned, your mental wellness, or your mental health, but I think that's very important as well. When I say you take it with you after you have gone, I'm a believer that your spirit never dies. And that's evident because the spirit of people that we've lost physically is still with us. And isn't that in itself proof of that? So I think spirit is very important. So we've got the 5 elements. So spiritually, emotionally, financially, physically, and socially. They're the 5 pillars I measure myself with. I do it more so at this time of year, but I try and keep my tabs on it. And what I mentioned at the beginning is it's pointless being good at one and crap at the other. It's pointless being very financially, well off, or, being having 100% of your values in your financial being, if you like, having no spiritual awareness, having no social awareness, having no emotional maturity, and having no physical, well-being. It's pointless, because you're just going to die alone, lonely, probably overweight or underweight, and also completely emotionally imbalanced. You're going to die miserable. I'll give you another example. Physically, there's no point being really physically well, strong as an ox, and you can take the world on, you can run fast, you can lift more than everyone, but you got no money, you got no friends, you've got no spiritual awareness, and you've also got no emotional intelligence. You can't handle it. Any situation breaks you down. I think the key is balance. Have 5, but build on all the 5. So that's just me. That's my measure. Your measures will be different. But I would ask you guys to do yourself one thing and ask internally, where are you on them 5? Where are you physically? Where are you spiritually? Where are you emotionally? Where are you socially? And where are you emotionally? And see if you improve with them 5 individually, or be it in silos, your life will be better. So anyway, I just wanted to share them thoughts with you. I hope it doesn't come across pedantic and a bit self-centered. It's just that time of year where a lot of people reflect, and that's how I do mine. Thank you.